So, how long have you been Ant-Man again?
Not long. It just sort of happened.
I wish I could fight bad guys like you.
I seem to mess it up almost every time.
Maybe you just need someone watching your back. Hi. Like a partner.
Dr. Pym, I actually heard what happened to you. You opened up the quantum realm. That's when this crazy creepy ghost who like walks through walls and stuff. Stole your tech. And now she wants to take over the world or whatever. Who would have believed that in your hour of need, you would turn to us?
Not me.
I mean, because we robbed you. Do you remember? That's us.
The only chance we've got is both of you.
Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
She seems more intense.
Get loose now. No.
You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
We're gonna die. I don't want to die. We didn't die.
Hey, what'd I miss?
We were just tiny.
I was partners with Hank on a project called Goliath.
How big did you get?
My record, 21 feet. You?
65 feet.
65.
If you two are finished comparing sizes,
65.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer video. I'll also explain how this is tied to Infinity War and Avengers 4, because the movie's coming out after Infinity War, but it starts before the events of Infinity War. If you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We're just getting started with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Avengers 4 stuff too. There's going to be a bunch of Marvel dropping this week. The big MacGuffin this time, not so much being the Pym particles, but being the actual quantum realm itself. Like they say that the ghost stole his tech when he opened up the quantum realm. But we also get a good look at the ghost with her mask off. So it's a gender-bent ghost, it's Hannah John Kamen. In the comics, Ghost is just a super thief, not a grand world-conquering villain in the vein of Magneto or someone like Loki in the first Avengers movie. So if the quantum realm is the MacGuffin of the film, we'll see what it is that they pull from that the supervillain wants so much that will allow them to take over the world. Because it's usually people abusing or stealing Pym technology, then trying to use that to take over the world, like Hydra was trying to get it during the first Ant-Man movie. This movie, although, mostly this movie has been pitched to me as the rescue of the original Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer from the quantum realm. So all this ghost quantum realm heist stuff is probably what gives them the reason to go back into the quantum realm and then think about rescuing Janet Van Dyne. So there's still a lot of information that we don't have about the quantum realm in this trailer yet, but it does look like this shot is the OG Wasp, because Hope's costume has yellow highlights, the OG Wasp costume has red highlights. You may have noticed that she's on the poster though, in her original Wasp costume. You don't get a really good look at her because she's behind Scott here, but this is what she's going to look like in present day when they come out of the quantum realm. So the idea being that this is a prequel to Infinity War, they want it to be like a fun heist film that's a bit of a respite from the dire consequences of Infinity War, like everyone's kind of reeling from the end of that movie. They want to have a fun summer movie. These heroes are going to be bigger characters during Avengers 4. There needs to be some connective tissue. So the big theory now is that they go into the quantum realm at some point in the movie. Time moves differently there. They're probably protected from Thanos' finger snap. It would be an amazing post-credits scene if they came back out of the quantum realm to a post-finger snap universe. And they just looked around, hey, where did everybody go? Scott Lang could lose his daughter. Usually it's everybody losing who they love most. But Sebastian Stan did say that there was a shot during Avengers 4 where they had like everybody on screen together. He did reveal that Hank Pym and Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne were amongst people in that crowd of the shot that they did, meaning that they might not get turned to ash during the course of Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe because they're also in the quantum realm with Hope and Scott. Either way, we get to Avengers 4, Hank Pym and Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne are alive at some point. But remember, we all expect those people that got turned to ash to come back. And I think that they're all in the soul world, but we'll see how the movie explains that. Just remember that the gems are still intact regardless of Thanos' melted-looking gauntlet. But if the whole idea that Soul World is a different dimension within the Soul Gem, and the quantum realm is a different dimension that they shrink down into, maybe they'll find a creative way to use Ant-Man and the Wasp's abilities besides just getting really big. Like, there's a lot of comedy that they use here, like, oh my god, we were all small for a second, like them shrinking the car down underneath the other car, then growing it back up so that the car flies out of the way. There's a lot of like, haha, funny, them jumping into cars, taking villains down. That's like a very low-level use of their abilities. Think about Quantum Realm as being more the grand fulfillment of those abilities. You can take it way beyond this funny boss battle here. So then, how do they use that during Avengers 4? Let me know in the comments though, how do they use their abilities during Avengers 4 besides just becoming Giant Man? Like they have the Lawrence Fishburne Goliath joke. He's a big comic book character too. I'll talk about him in a second. Oh, how big did you get? 21 feet. Like it's a pretty badass thing. I went 65 feet. And then they actually show you him going 65 feet in the bay there. The whole thing with that is that there is an actual physical limit that human bone can go to. Like eventually human bone will just get so brittle, it's not meant to support a certain amount of weight. That's why there's a limit on how big Scott can get. Like he can't just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually his body would break in half because his bones couldn't support the weight. Because as he gets bigger, his bones do not get stronger, they just get bigger. But the whole thing with Goliath is that when Hank Pym became Giant Man, there was a period in the comics where he got stuck at a minimum of 10 feet, like he couldn't get bigger than 10 feet tall. The Avengers needed somebody who could get bigger, so Hank Pym suggested Bill Foster. Goliath became the new Giant Man for a period during the comics, but this is like way back during the 70s. So the funny thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like they say that Ant-Man was young and active during the Cold War, like that's when Janet Van Dyne was lost to the quantum realm, was back during the 80s. You have to imagine that around that same time, they were also doing these Goliath experiments. So just imagine a young version of Lawrence Fishburne being a protege of a younger version of Michael Douglas, sort of like a Tony Stark Spider-Man situation. But we'll see, usually Hank Pym has a lot of fallout in the relationships of his life, so we'll see what their relationship is like in present day. Lawrence Fishburne, like in this office, seems like he's doing relatively normal stuff, but they all reminisce about the awesome stuff that they used to do. Like, oh yeah, we used to do really cool stuff, but now we're just like normal scientists. For those of you worried that T.I. wasn't going to be in the film, I got a lot of comments about this. Is T.I. going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp? Confirmed, T.I. in Ant-Man and the Wasp, so no worries there. But it does look like they've hilariously tried to upgrade their security business, although mostly it's them breaking in places. But maybe it's like a sneakers situation where they're breaking into businesses to prove where the security flaws are. So maybe they're still doing the exact same thing, except trying to pass it off like it's a legit business. But there's something about him wearing that suit that just makes this funnier, like him just trying to pretend to be a totally legit businessman. Just to bring it back around to Infinity War, during the course of the movie, they said that Ant-Man and Hawkeye were on house arrest because Captain America broke them out of the raft. Remember, they had already been arrested after the airport battle. They said that they cut a deal because their families just couldn't deal with them being on the run. So during the events of Infinity War, Hawkeye is back with his family on the farm, and Scott is with his family, or they believe that Ant-Man has been with his family, but like at the beginning of the trailer, his daughter's like, how long have you been Ant-Man again? Because we don't see any of that house arrest bracelet we saw in the first trailer, so that's probably the very beginning of the timeline right after Civil War. So it just makes sense that at the end of the movie, there's a post-credit scene that deals with the post-finger snap universe where half of all people are gone. Or maybe they come back out of the quantum realm and Scott goes to kiss his daughter goodnight and she just starts to turn to ash. But what I'll do next is I'll do an Infinity War video for all the missing characters like Valkyrie, Korg, Meek, Adam Warlock, the Celestials, the Watchers. So that should post in a couple hours. Congratulations to the latest Infinity Gauntlet giveaway winner, Leandro Escobar. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. Click here for all my Infinity War Easter eggs, and click here for my top 10 WTF after the movie. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.